that he moved to sits on a grid line intersection.
Oh, really?
That's when he developed these psychic powers. Okay, so that nuclear physics or physics in general is different along the ley lines. It's not the same as in normal space. Okay,
wow. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think that these aliens are living in ley line technology. Okay, and they're definitely under the water. They're definitely under the earth. I just recently had an episode or listened to an episode of a guy who was working at Area 51, okay, the top secret,
right.
Air Force installation, and I think it's New Mexico,
right,
and it's got like 50 or 100 layers, levels underground, okay,
right,
and he said he accidentally went too deep one day. And he crashed through a floor, and he came face to face with one of these aliens, and he said he'd never smelled such a horrible stink in all his life. Okay, and this alien actually had some kind of weapon, and he and this alien traded fire, and the alien shot off some of his fingers, and he was pulled out. Okay, you remember that story? And
I know who that was. Yeah.
And he was pulled out by one of his buddies, and his buddy saved his life by pulling him out. Okay, but he actually saw one of these aliens, and the Bible says clearly that these shades, S-H-A-D-E-S, shades, these spirits, these shades have been banished to under the earth for judgment. That's in 2 Peter and Jude. They both tell us that. Okay?
Wow.
So these alien beings are still with us, folks.
Wow.
They are still with us. Okay, and so we definitely have an alien presence that is trying to tyrannize us all over again. Okay? Now, God created Adam and Eve in order to overcome this tyranny. Okay? To bring peace and justice to the planet. But there can be no peace and justice as long as these fallen angels are amongst us. And the Bible clearly tells us that at the judgment day, all of these fallen angels will be destroyed. Every last one of them. Okay?
Wow.
In fact, Jude said they are held in the underground for the day of judgment, when they will be summarily executed. Okay? And so, we can question, well, why God are you taking so long? Well, he knows best, and
he's got a job. It sounds like getting rid of alone getting rid of the banking problem.
Exactly. Okay.
Eli, do you need a break? We can keep going without one.
I'm fine. I mean, if you want to take a break, that's fine with me too.
No,
I see that another. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so E-Monkey asks, so was Hitler not a beast? Well, that's an interesting question. Obviously, Hitler understood that the international bankers were, the most evil people on the planet. He understood that. Okay. As a matter of fact, when Germany had its hyperinflation, and Weimar Republic, exactly, and the nation was virtually destroyed because of that. Hitler got the German nation out of it. Why? How? What he did was he duplicated what Lincoln did during the Civil War. Remember what Lincoln did? He printed greenbacks, which were government money, non-interest-bearing government money, and simply spent it into circulation, using it to pay his troops and to buy supplies for the war. Otherwise, the North could not have prosecuted the Civil War any further, because he went to the bankers in New York City and they offered him terms of 28%.
Wow.
We'll lend you money at 28%. And,
that sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar, right?
Citibank, who else?
Right, exactly.
All of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Lincoln said, no, I can't afford that. I got to figure out some other way. So he consulted with one of his friends here in Chicago, Colonel Taylor. And
really?
Colonel Taylor, he was a constitutional expert, and he said, hey, Abe, All you have to do is print government money. The Constitution says the government is supposed to create the money, not the bankers. Okay.
Right.
So he created, I forget how many millions. I think it was something like 500 million. He simply created 500 millions of greenbacks, spent those into circulation, and they were able to prosecute the war from that point on. And, in fact, those greenbacks were in circulation until 1964, when lying butcher Johnson took them out of circulation after they assassinated Kennedy, who also wanted to create government money. Okay? So both Lincoln and Kennedy were assassinated by the international bankers because they wanted to create an honest money system.
For the same reason.
For this exactly the same reason, yes.
How can this from generation to generation continue? Is it because there's genetically propensity to be this way?
Yes.
Or is it, okay.
Yes. Well, they're fallen angels. Remember, Lucifer rebelled, and he reveled in his rebellion. He wanted to be like God. He considered himself to be another God. Okay? And as you like to say, okay, then God said, okay, well, see if you can create a universe of your own. Okay?
Yeah, well, we'll give you a chance for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he says, okay, goodbye, and then he brought Adam down to take his place or getting rid of him.
Right. So Hitler did his absolute best to get the German people out from under the control of the international bankers. It was these bankers that created that hyperinflation. Okay.
Wow.
So Hitler brought stability.
Yes.
He brought stability back to Germany. Okay.
Yeah,
now the Jews.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the international Jew could not bide this because the entire planet, the entire industrial world, was in the midst of a Great Depression. Right. America was especially hard hit by the Great Depression. And so what Hitler demonstrated by what he did was he showed the world that you don't need to have Jewish bankers to have a stable economy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he demonstrated this is a fact. This is a fact. If you don't have Jewish bankers running your economy, you have peace and prosperity, right?
Yeah, well, that happened.
So in 1933, world Jewry declared war, economic war, on Hitler's Germany.
Oh, wow.
Okay? The international Zionists said, we are declaring war on you, Germany, because you refuse to have Jewish bankers. You refuse to allow Jewish bankers to run your economy.
Isn't that what happened to Saddam Hussein?
Right. Well, that had more to do with oil, but yeah, Saddam Hussein decided not to accept Federal Reserve notes in exchange for oil, and Iran has done the same thing. Iran did the same thing a couple of years ago.
Now, can't we say that it's the same group that's doing the European money, the Euro,
that's absolutely right,
and the Federal Reserve?
That's right.
Now,
the Euro,
we might have one house do one family doing one thing, but doesn't it all ultimately go back to the same source of these?
The euro and the Federal Reserve note are simply, two currencies put out by the same beast. Okay.
And so when you were talking last time where it said, don't let the alien among you, we're really talking about, we're not talking about an illegal Mexican, we're talking about an actual alien.
That's right.
Holy cow. Okay.
Exactly. The fallen angels, the Nephilim. Right.
So why is this so hard for, what can I say? Why is this so hard for,
because it's been disguised. The language of the Bible has been disguised. Okay. And the Rothschilds have spent trillions of dollars having the Bible retranslated and distorted so that you can't understand what it says. Okay. But what I have done and what we in Christian identity do as a religion, we take the original Greek and the original Hebrew and we analyze the original languages to find out what they say and compare those languages to what the translations say. And I can tell you right off the top that the translations, and since I'm an American, I read primarily English. I know a little bit of German, but I can't read German. I can understand it when people speak it, and I can speak a little bit, but as far as reading and writing, it's nil. I have no ability there. But I know because I've talked with Germans and I've talked with Greeks I've talked with Serbians.